Hey everybody, it's Chris from AllEars TV, and today we're doing not so much a ride through, but we're gonna do, this is a new term that's gonna take Disney by storm. We're calling it a Pooh through. It's a Pooh through video. All right, I went too far. Anyway, we're gonna hop in those awesome honey pots and we're gonna take a ride through the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Let's go. So sometimes attractions and ideas, like things happen relatively fast, and other times, well, it takes maybe, 73 years. That's the amount of time that transpired between the time that British author A.A. Milne started writing the Winnie the Pooh stories back in 1926 to the day Disney opened the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in June of 1999. Walt's daughters, Diane and Sharon, absolutely loved the stories, and that inspired Walt to want to share them with children around the world. So in 1961, Walt bought the rights to Winnie the Pooh from Milne's widow. In order to introduce Pooh and the other characters to the American children, he decided to animate a series of short stories. 5 years later, the first Pooh short was released, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, followed by Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day in 1968, which won an Academy Award for Best Cartoon Short, and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 in 1974. Disney later combined all three of these to create a full-length film, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. The ride replaced Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which closed in 1998. Disney wanted to use more popular characters that would appeal to a broader audience. In fact, inside the ride in Owl's house, you can actually see a portrait of Mr. Toad giving Owl the deed to the building, as if turning over the property. Now, during the times when I've been there, it usually averages anywhere from 35 to 65 minutes as a wait time. So if your kids love Winnie the Pooh like mine do, I'd say it's definitely worth the Fast Pass. And it really is one of the better dark rides. Now, if you've got older kids and you already have Fast Passes for Big Thunder Mountain or Peter Pan, then they're like the hard-to-get ones, I wouldn't swap them. There's no height requirement. It's a dark ride, but there's no drops. There are some minor scary parts, but that will really depend on the individual child as to what they consider scary. It's also good to know that there is a wheelchair-accessible honey pot. You just need to let the cast member know, and he or she will guide you to exactly where you need to be. And even though you can take a wheelchair on the honey pot, you can't take an ECV, so those visitors will have to make a transfer. Now, before you get into the ride, there's a treehouse outside near the queue entrance, and if you go into the treehouse, there's a nautilus carved in the side. That's a nod to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which used to sit across from where Pooh is now. Disney has been making an amazing effort to make the ride queues interesting and fun, and boy, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh has one of the best queues for keeping the kids really entertained. From Rabbit's Garden with the instruments and like the drums, all the way to the honey paint wall screen, oh my gosh, if you haven't played with this wall yet, you have to do it. Sometimes you just want to stay there and play instead of even moving with the line because it's just so much fun. Each honey pot has 2 rows each and can fit normally 2 to 3 people. Lap sitting is permitted, and there is a lap bar you pull down. It's not actually a restraint, it's more just like a reminder to stay seated. As you start on the ride, pages of the storybook surround you, and it really just brings you back to those wonderful, simple days of pulling out the book and letting these characters come to life as you read, and all of a sudden here you are, and they're actually leaping off the page. The first scene is based on Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. Gopher is seen here. Now, he was made for the Disney shorts, but not in the books. Gopher introduces himself by explaining he's not in the book, as in the phone book, but it's actually a joke because he's not in the Milne storybooks. And you didn't have Google, and you'd get this book with everybody's phone numbers, so you knew who to call. I'm really showing my age. Let's move on.
Oh dear, hang on tightly, Roo.
There's Al's house, and that's where on the left you'll see the portrait of Mr. Toad giving Al the deed. And on the floor on the right, it's a portrait of Moley from Wind in the Willows tipping his hat to Pooh. When you see Tigger, your honeypot actually starts to bounce up and down with him. This part is a little dark, but the kids are usually having so much fun bouncing with Tigger they don't mind. Jim Cummings, a very famous voice actor for Disney and beyond, voices Winnie the Pooh in the attraction and has been the voice of Pooh since 1988. He also currently voices Tigger as well. In fact, he voices Tigger on this attraction in Disneyland. In Magic Kingdom, Tigger's voiced by his original actor, Paul Winchell. And this was the last time ever that Winchell voiced Tigger. Pooh's original voice was Disney legend Sterling Holloway. Now this trick, used to make it look like Pooh is floating away, is called Pepper's Ghost. This is also how the ghosts appear in the ballroom scene of the Haunted Mansion. We're not going to tell you how this trick works. If you're really interested, there's ways you can go find out. And when you see how it's done, I will admit it's a little mind-blowing in its simplicity. The song Heffalumps and Woozles was written by the Sherman Brothers, and they are the legendary songwriting duo behind Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book, as well as Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, and The Tiki Room. The Heffalumps are the elephant-like creatures, Woozles are the weasel-like ones. This is the only area that may get a little scary for kids that have issues with the dark or scary things. In this area, your honeypot starts to now feel as if it's floating on water. Now this scene is dark, but most of the kids are fine because of all of the characters and things to look at. When the Rain Came Down is also written by the Sherman Brothers. The Tom Hanks film Saving Mr. Banks, which was about the writing of Mary Poppins, really gives a neat look into the process that some of these songwriters in the day used to go through. And of course, the gang gets together to celebrate the rain being gone.
Hooray for Pooh, too.
And now we say farewell to Pooh and his friends. But do we? Of course not. It's every parent's favorite part, the gift shop. Say hi to the Winnie the Pooh Sum Sum as one of the cheaper things I was able to find there. So what about you? What's your favorite Pooh experience? Let us know in the comments. I will be honest, that line looks a lot better on paper than when I say it out loud. Tell us about your kids and experiences with the dark parts of this ride. Were they okay? Were they scared? What was their favorite part of playing in the queue? Be sure to stay tuned to AllEars TV and AllEars.net for more Disney news, fun, and stuff. Want more ride videos? Check them out right here, and please give us a like and a subscribe to AllEars.net. And make sure to hit that little notification bell so you immediately get notified when we post a new video. This is Chris for AllEars TV. See you next time.